What the hell is going on with Amazon and Mr. Beast? Well, they're getting sued. That's what's going on. That, Mickey 17 trailers, that and more on today's show. So thanks for joining us here today. It's myself and Steph Sabra. So let's get right into it. It is the Christian Harloff Show. It is a live episode. Let's do it. Thank you, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you guys for being here every day, 1 p.m. EST, 10 a.m. Pacific time, and we are going live. We've been going live, and the lady who has been joining me every Tuesday thus far has been, or Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't remember my day straight, Steph Sabra. Hello, Steph. How are you?
Hi. Very good. How are you?
Good. You haven't moved your timing. I moved it in my own mind. You stayed on Wednesday, and here we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm always Wednesday.
You are, and you know it's
best midweek.
That's right. And now we got to get you on the. We did the I told you we've been doing the contest for the questions, and so last week you had a good week and 15 questions, right? So there's that light. Don't worry about it.
There's that. Okay.
Look at now you're just like a ghost. But
you guys, it's spooky season.
It's spooky season. But yeah, but you did like 15 questions. You know how many questions Winston wound up doing on Friday?
How much?
How many do you think? Well, let me give you that. Roxy had 46, and that was the record.
But it was Roxy and Brett, right?
It was Roxy and Mike.
Okay, so that's two people.
Yeah.
Was it just Winston?
It was just Winston.
Okay, 25?
No. Higher.
What? Did he have like 65?
Higher.
Are you guys joking me?
No, higher.
What was the top? Okay, 100.
106.
What was the topic?
We were just talking about comic book movies, and people wanted him to beat Rocco at 43, and then people wanted him to beat.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So and then Rocco followed it up on this Monday with 73. So
oh my
we got to at least get you to 20. You got to at least break past 15 today. So right now you started at 6, which is good. You're ready 6 before the show even started. So that's great.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
So
let's go.
Let's go. So the way it's going to work, guys, for everybody is that you guys put in your questions. We will get to them after we cover all the main topics, obviously, and we'll stay here until that is over. So as I said, currently the first step, there are 6 questions. Ask about anything you want to ask for, all the topics that we're covering, anything else in general. Maybe there's stuff that we aren't covering that you want us to. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify. Yesterday, people were talking about, we brought up Agatha all along. Tom Chattelbash joined me in studio, and we talked about Agatha all along. And I had said, I don't know, I'm not going to know if I'm going to get to it until it comes out. Well, I wound up, what was going to happen, Steph, is that, Sadie and I we were going to react to, we're doing the reactions on the channel now, the movie reactions. We were going to do the Batman leading into Penguin, because she's never really seen it. She's seen like 10 minutes of it, and she never watched it.
Okay.
So we were going to do that. And so she was all ready to. And last night I'm thinking, I was like, well, Agatha comes out today. And maybe she loves Catherine Hahn. So maybe this is something that we do together. So we watched the first 2 episodes together this morning. I put my immediate reaction up after I saw it. And I don't want this to sound condescending. I hope it doesn't. But it's a cute show. Is that?
Yeah.
It's a cute show. I think that I definitely think it's geared towards women, as you and I talked about beforehand too. Great. And it is it's a horror. I mean, not horror. It's a Halloween show for sure. But the tone is better than I thought it was going to be. It's not goofy. And they take themes of WandaVision and implement that and then make it its own thing. And the chemistry with the actors is really good. And you go there for Aubrey Plaza and Catherine Hahn, and they both delivered in the way that you want them to. So I think if you're going there for that, you're going to be satisfied in 2 episodes. I mean, it could get better or worse in episode 3. I don't know.
Okay, cool. And do they introduce what the overall storyline is going to be? Or is there one, or is it more just... I know that we're trying to get her powers back. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are... That's what it seems like, for sure.
From what the trailer has given, it's that she's lost... Obviously, Wanda took away her powers and... Yes. Okay.
So, what is this one? Someone said that it sounds echoey. It doesn't sound like... Is it echoey to you?
No.
It doesn't sound echoey to me. Let me try this. Is this better? Is this better or worse? I feel like that's worse. Let me see. Check. I don't know. I feel like maybe that's better. Let me hear you, Steph.
That sounded better to me from you.
Okay, does that sound better for people? Hey, all right, Melissa, is this better now? Check. Hopefully this is better. Let's see if I do that, and then let me hear you one more time, Steph.
Hello and good morning.
Okay, I think we're better here. Okay, I fixed it. I think I did. Okay, anyway, so let's get to some of these topics. You know what I'm actually going to start with, Steph? I want to start with this one because I saw this. It wasn't even in the description. And that is the Deadpool and Wolverine star, Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds talks about both Kevin Feige's advice and the one line that Bob Iger asked him to cut out of the movie. So, Mark Cassidy writes, Deadpool and Wolverine has proven to be a massive hit for Marvel Studios, but entering into the R-rated territory for the first time was a risk that wasn't lost on Ryan Reynolds, who had already had some reservations about revisiting the Merc with a Mouth after 6 years. While reflecting on the production during an appearance at the Fast Company Invitation Festival, the Wade Wilson actor revealed the 4 words of advice Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige offered that haunted him during the writing process. He said something that sounded very pedantic and is probably not the thing to say out loud, but actually weirdly served as creative engine. He was like, make every scene great. And I was like, thanks, Kev. Sounds good. Reynolds went on to admit that Feige's words ended up playing on his mind while working on the script. He said, they haunted me. Make it great. That's hard. He also brought up the one line Disney's Bob Iger asked him to remove, but still wasn't willing to divulge any details. He said, there was only one line in the entire film that they asked me to take out. Reynolds said before heading off any attempt to get him to reveal it. He said, no, and they were right. As soon as somebody says something like, Ryan, Bob Iger here would love it if you'd take that one line out. It's really going to make our life hard over here. As soon as they say that, there's just something in my brain that goes, must keep line, precious. And then as soon as the fog of war lifts, you have a second thought, and it's like, of course I can take that out. Can I say something about Pinocchio instead? And the answer is yes. Ryan has previously promised to take that line to his grave, but it's certain to come out eventually. The MPAA gave the movie an official R rating, strong bloody violence and language. Yeah. Okay, we've got all that. So, you hear this, and it's great to hear this stuff after the movies come out. It's obviously a big hit, and how people want to know what went into the sauce to make it wonderful. But I would assume that it was something. I don't think it was necessarily about like a character. I think it was probably something that was related to all the stuff that happened with Disney and like Florida or DeSantis or something along those lines. I bet you that was in there for sure.
Oh, like kind of a self joke at the company,
something like that. Maybe there was some
a meta joke about Disney. That makes sense. Just speaking contextually for the movie's vibe.
I think so, because the reason why I think that is because he said something along the lines of that's going to make it tough for us over here, and more of a kind of political pushback and things of that nature, to where then they stayed away from it. But you could, because the characters alone, I mean, the only reason it's something else about a character, because then he said, well, can I say something about Pinocchio instead? And it's like, well, then maybe it was like on Mickey or something else, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was something that you may or may not ever find out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really need to know things like that. If it comes out, it's funny, but maybe he will in like a tell-all when he's 90 years old.
Right.
And he's like, screw it, Bob Iger's not even here anymore. That's a long time.
Exactly. And fine.
And then it won't even matter. But it's probably something political. Probably, if we're talking about Disney, has to do with the LGBTQ community, and so maybe Mickey is gay. I don't know.
It could be something, but whatever it might have been, not in there. And then the other stuff talking about with Kevin Feige and something like that is a line like, make it great, that whether he's goofing with it, and you could see Kevin Feige just kind of, don't worry, just make every scene great, have fun. It just kind of nonchalant.
It's not a big deal.
Right. And then him just playing and replaying in his head, oh my God, I got to make this great. So he said he had reservations about doing it. Now, one of the main reservations he probably had about doing it was taking it over to Disney, where he had a lot of freedom at Fox, and they let him do his thing. And it seems like they let him do his thing here in Disney, but that's probably why what am I going to do with this machine? Because they were kind of like a rock band on the side, at Fox. They're like, okay, you're making us money, do whatever the hell you want to do. But with Disney, you still got to play the game.
Right, right. Yeah, I feel like that's a I don't even know as a creator, obviously, most of us would like to work with the biggest companies out there, but I understand when you hear massive directors or writers or actors even just being like, I don't have any interest in being a part of that machine, because it does bring this pressure that's already so immense when you're making art and when you're adding to a franchise. I would have been really, really stressed out, but I think it's helpful. It's probably why he pushed so hard to have Wolverine and have like his act. He made the best environment for greatness. It's just so fun. And then you can just come on set and kill it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. What do you guys think about these comments from Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool? Let me know. All right, this is the main topic here, even though we didn't start with it, but it was brought to my attention. It's been getting everywhere, and this is a big one here, Steph. Mr. Beast and Amazon are getting sued over this new Beast Game series. A class action lawsuit has been filed against YouTube star Mr. Beast and streaming giant Amazon by lawyers representing 5 unnamed contestants in the upcoming Beast Games reality competition series for the streamer, according to the Rap and Variety. The complaint, filed Monday in Los Angeles Superior Court, alleges multiple causes of action related to the chronic mistreatment and neglect suffered by the participants in the series. The show features more than 1,000 participants competing for a single $5 million cash prize, and the suit claims the Beast Games boast a $100 million budget. It is being sold as having the biggest single prize in the history of television and streaming. The suit demands that Amazon and Mr. Beast Company pay alleged unpaid wages and expenses, that the defendants be ordered to pay unspecified punitive monetary damages. In a statement about the lawsuit, attorneys for the anonymous contestants say several contestants ended up hospitalized, while others reported suffering physical and mental complications while being subjected to chronic mistreatment, degradation, and the female contestants' hostile working conditions. Allegations include participants being deprived of medical care, food, sleep, and the necessities of basic hygiene. Portions of the lawsuit are redacted, including some of the details involving the sexual harassment allegations. The news comes as a Rolling Stone article has gone into the show's production, saying, according to crew members and several contestants in Toronto, conditions on the production were dangerous and was staffed with a crew with little experience on a production of this scale. A release date for Beast Games on Prime Video has not been announced. Well, no shit.
Right.
I mean, you hear this, and the first thing that I think of here is, how does Amazon let this happen? It's not like it's one thing if it's like, okay, well, Mr. Beast is starting his own production thing. Even the guy's got millions of dollars and he's trying to put together new people, and then they don't know what the hell they're doing, but he's trying to do it. He's trying to employ people, and you're like, oh, well, that was a disaster. You hired the wrong people, and what a mess. Amazon is Amazon. They should have every single person looking over this stuff. And in a company like that has money hand over fist, this type of thing cannot happen. Because even what allegations, whatever it might be, if there's enough witnesses that can say, if it's one person, then you're like, okay, well, you got to be able to prove that one person. But if there's like
Right.
5 people, 10 people saying, no, these were the conditions, this was this, how does Amazon let that happen? I don't know. Because what I can tell you is, even working for a company like Skybound, when we worked with Skybound, smaller, way smaller than Amazon, every little thing was, is this in place? Do you have this? Are you taking care of this? Are you making sure this is happening? Is this person taken care of? Is this happening? It's like, you got to do that in a show like this. I don't know how this happens. Is this as baffling to you as me, or did you like, no, this kind of shit happens all the time?
No, I do think, especially because I read more extensively. I grew up with the law, so I love reading court cases, and I like actually reading what the order actually says. So I didn't get through. I only got through some stuff because not everything is published, and some things are redacted, including the sexual stuff, because it's not public. And it's pretty bad. It's really bad. They said that the women felt like there was a collective punishment environment towards them, and that they found a handbook that said, it's called like Mr. Beast production, like how to succeed in Mr. Beast production, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the major rules was let the boys be boys.
Mm-mm.
And to kind of fuel this childish behavior, and they're like, if they want to draw dicks on the whiteboard or whatever it is, encourage that, encourage stupidity and the boy behavior. And so I could just see that, like, that alone isn't condemning, but I could just see that fueling into insanity. And then what really is insane, what you're talking about, is that a company like Amazon Prime, it's interesting that we're in this age of pairing with influencers, specifically YouTubers who joined YouTube to break the mold in a lot of ways of traditional streamers and TV and networks,
Right.
and to work outside those rules and do more independent. But then we have these YouTubers that are now on their way to becoming billionaires, and they want to be with the big companies. And then they're joining together and making these companies, but then, like, they don't have the actual
Wherewithal.
yeah, to make a production of that level. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can do your Mr. Beast videos with 50 people or whatever it is, when it doesn't involve actual contestants who are there for a job, so to speak. But to actually put those people there, it's so unprofessional. It doesn't make any sense why they didn't have someone from Amazon doing
Right.
that part.
Right. That's what I mean. Amazon, if Amazon signs up, they got to say, okay, look, this is not a YouTube production anymore, and whatever you guys were doing beforehand, this is our name that we're involved here. Plus the fact we don't want any lawsuits. Plus, and the way that in general the landscape is, like, there are certain things. If that handbook is found, you say no. You just can't do this anymore. It doesn't, and especially, and if you are going to have these things where you're going to be able to have that environment, you've got to make that clear to people up top and say, look, this is the kind of environment we're going to do. You're going to have people that maybe could offend you, could do this too. Is that something you're prepared to see? There could be some crazy shit going on these whiteboards. There could be people saying, offensive stuff in here. It's kind of the point of the show. It's what we're doing. If you're uncomfortable with it, we understand. But if you're able to if you know this is some of the shit that's coming down, we want to be able to just have kind of this gloves off. Everybody can say whatever the hell they want. We're trying to do like a social experiment here, just kind of. But are you comfortable with it or what you can hear?
Right.
Because if you're presented that kind of going in, knowing you're probably going to say, well, what kind of shit am I going to hear? Like, what kind of stuff? But like, okay, if at least I know that gloves off, and as long as somebody's not touching me inappropriately or doing that kind of stuff, then well, let's see what we got. And I signed up for what I have. But if you're not aware for this type of stuff, then yeah, you're going, what the hell is this?
Right. Yeah, I think I don't know. It's interesting because, as being a comedian, it's like when you're growing up with friends who are comedians, they're kind of always a comedian, and you're like, oh, they're performing, like this is them. And there's an authenticity about most comedians, especially good ones, where you're like, you want them to be kind of the center of attention. But now this new, like, the way social media has gone, it's like people are just milking every moment for content and performance in a way that's like, oh, let's go back to fifth grade humor because that will get a like on a video. It's so desperate.
Well, and everyone thinks that they're a comedian, and everyone thinks they're funny, and especially when you, like, there's certain times, and look, there are some people, and comedy is subjective. There's no doubt about that. But like, I'll pop on some of these pranks that pop up, and I'm like, and they have millions of views, and they're just not funny, and they're not like funny. There's just like stuff that I'm like, why aren't these people? There are some that are. There are some people that I think that are. I can't remember the guy's name, Big Voss or something. I find him funny, right? I think, but he's kind of got a good heart about what he. But there's some people that do these pranks, and they're like, "It's a prank, bro. It's a prank." And you're like, if someone punches you in the face, I'm going to applaud and give that video a like. And it's not funny. There's a lot of those types of things, but there are probably people who argue and say, "No, man, that is funny." There's just one, and most of them are fake anyway. There's this one kid, and it always pops up on my feed, and he does this stupid thing where there's somebody sitting on a bench, and he clearly is in cahoots with this person, and he goes up to the person, he goes like this, he goes, and then the person, every single person chases this person, chases them every time, and it's fake. It's not real chasing, and how the people are fooled by this and they're laughing about this. I know. It's so stupid.
Yeah, the setup pranks is crazy, but it really feels like they're doing the same thing at a larger scale where they're setting it up so people are like planning
Right.
their moments.
Yeah, it's fake.
And that's so fake. And then so it makes sense that obviously in the unprofessionality of it all, that other things would seep through.
Yeah.
And I saw at the same, who knows if this is a marketing ploy or if it's just bad timing, but at the same time, or feels like good timing, because if you look up Mr. Beast, part of the articles are concerning this. And then the other part is that him and Logan Paul are launching a new healthy Lunchable.
Yeah.
And if you look at the ingredients, although they have less sugar, it's still highly processed ingredients. And it makes you think about the whole system in general. It really is like we're fighting the same race. We're like, oh no, we get to be independent and have our own things and we can make it. But it's like, no, you just end up becoming the company and then having less. It just is the same cycle.
Yeah. And just different. It's just a younger generation doing it. But yeah. And so this is not good for Amazon and Mr. Beast, because I think Mr. Beast has already bounced back from other scandals and other things too. And as we just mentioned, there are things. If the show ever sees the light of day, who knows? But the guy can make 75 other videos, and his videos aren't going anywhere. And I happen to really think that the way that he's done things, and even if he is doing things sometimes for a gimmick to get more views on it, ultimately he's making a lot of people's lives better with certain things that he does and giving things to people and things. And the air of positivity for what he does, I applaud. I think he's done a lot for YouTube and for creators and things. I do think that he has. There's other scandals I'm not aware of. There's other things I don't know that he's done, but I don't think this is going to hurt him as much as it's going to hurt Amazon. I think it'll hurt Amazon way more than it's going to hurt Mr. Beast, because whether, like I said, Mr. Beast gets a show or doesn't get a show, it'll be irrelevant. But Amazon could take it, well, it's going to sink Amazon. Of course, it's not going to sink Amazon, but it's still just another kind of dirt, another dirt smudge on their profile that they don't want.
Yeah, they probably would have to really rethink before they go back into reality TV. And it seems like a lot of the reality TV for these streaming sites aren't working that great. Obviously, the relationship ones are different. I haven't heard as much complaints, but even just like the Squid Game one on Netflix had a lot of complaints about the environment and people not having full access to things. So I think it's like a new thing for them that they're clearly not great at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not great at it if they didn't put, with the amount of money and the amount, like the high profile they are, that they didn't have every single person working on this show to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen. It just seems to me like a no-brainer. It just seems like a no-brainer. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this overall? I saw some people saying in the comments section, like, I don't know, man. I think Mr. Beast could take a hit from this. Curious if you think this is going to affect him. Curious if you think that this lawsuit will go anywhere. Will Amazon just settle out of court? That's something that's certainly possible also, that they can just settle, which happens all of the time, and then this thing just kind of goes away, which is a point that we didn't make up, that we didn't discuss. That's just probably what's going to happen. Please let us know. Tell us right now. Steph, you're at 9 questions. Almost, you're about 11 away to hit your goal of 20 today. So I think we'll hit that. But before we get into our next topic, I wanted to tell you guys about 2 of our wonderful sponsors, both our friends over at Joy Mode and AG1. Let me tell you about both of them right now. You guys know it's time for Joy Mode. I love talking about Joy Mode. They've been with us forever now. So Joy Mode really is absolutely wonderful. It's a sexual performance booster. You know that already, but it's not just about better sex. Daily use supports healthier blood vessels, boosts heart health, and it enhances your athletic performance. Expertly formulated and backed by science, it's proven to improve erection function by 50% in just 60 days. So you just take a pack with water and you feel the effects within 45 minutes. Take control with Joy Mode. You get a boost anytime, anywhere, never miss a beat. It's a performance booster. And I'm telling you, I was like, wait a minute, let me see. I don't necessarily need it. It's not about needing it. It's about saying, wait a minute. This is really, to me, that pre-workout when you take like a supplement before working out and you're like, oh, wow, I feel incredible. Same thing. Get yourself a discount today and go to tryjoymode.com. Use that code BIGTHING. Tryjoymode.com. Use that code BIGTHING for your first order. You will thank me for it. And a lot of people have already been thanking me for it. Joy Mode, the best. Let's talk AG1. I love AG1. I had it this morning. I love it. It helps you build a healthy morning routine. 60 seconds to get your daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, adaptogens, more. And I've been drinking it for, forever. You can't be part of this show if you haven't heard me talking about AG1. I'm going to give you a couple of fast facts about AG1 and how it supports your gut health. It contains prebiotics, probiotics, and gut-supporting ingredients to support your digestion, reduce bloating, and keep you regular. In a research study, 80% of participants noticed less gas and bloating after 30 days of drinking AG1. For me, I've had a lot of changes since I started to. I sleep better, better gut health, my focus, stress, all of it. It's just great. AG1's powder form makes it easy for your body to digest and access the nutrient-dense ingredients in the formula. They've been around with us for so long because so many of you guys have been doing it also. You've been getting AG1, you've been checking it out, you've been changing your routines, and it's worked. So if you want to start and notice the difference for yourself, it's a great first step to invest in your health, and that's why they've been a proud partner of mine for so long. Try AG1 and get a free bottle of Vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 Travel Packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/bigthing. $48 value for free if you go to drinkag1.com/bigthing. Go ahead, check it out. All right, thank you to our friends over at both AG1 and, of course, Joy Mode. I tell you every time that you want to help out the show and you want to keep us going, that's how you do it. And you guys have been doing it. That's why AG1's been with us for so long. So many of you signed up to AG1, and if you haven't signed up to Joy Mode, that's on you. That's on you. Joy Mode is the shiz. That's right, Steph. I said shiz it.
The shiz.
The shiz. Okay. So did you get a chance? Well, before we even get into the Mickey 17 thing, did you, I forget, when you were on the show last week, did I talk to you about Transformers 1 already?
Yes.
So good.
I can't wait to see it.
It's so good. I think now I will say it is in the conversation for the best Transformers movie of all time.
That's so cool.
It really is good.
Animation is making such a great run.
It is. It's got a great run.
There's so many movies that are just, obviously in Japan it's been happening that like Demon Slayer has, I think, one of the highest grossing films of all time. But it's cool to see now, Inside Out 2, Spider-Verse, now this.
Despicable Me did pretty well.
Love it.
Yeah, Despicable Me did really well.
Yeah.
Also, the box office, the two that did really well in box office this year are Inside Out and Despicable Me. Those are the two that crushed it. And then you got stuff coming out on TV, which I forget. I feel like you're a big Arcane fan, right?
Oh,
okay.
Massive.
Yeah, that's right. That's if you didn't watch it, I would say there's no hope in this world because that's right for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a ride or die Arcane.
That's what
girl.
I was thinking. Are you stoked for season 2?
So stoked. It's my most probably anticipated show. Well, it's hard because I didn't know Shogun was going to slap so hard from this year, but if you asked me last year what am I most excited about, it was probably Arcane or Shogun. I knew that Hero was a part of it, so that's hard to say. But yes, I am so excited. I rewatched the seasons. I just can't believe. I think you got me on it, right?
I'm assuming that I kept telling you to watch it. Yeah.
I think you did, and then you were like, just get to the 3rd episode.
Yeah, and that was it.
It was you, and I thank you for this, Christian.
You're welcome.
Because once I got to the 3rd episode, I was like, holy shiz.
It just keeps moving. And as far as Shogun goes, I got something for you because you know how long you've been telling me to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
What?
Steph, I will need you to find my men, find my boat, and move on to season 2. I thank you. I thank everyone for being here. And where are my men? Where is my boat?
Cosmo Jarvis in the house. That's
trying.
Really good.
I've been trying. He's always looking for his boat.
I need my men.
That's right.
I need my ship. Thank you. I do not want to deal with the Protestants. I do not want to deal. I will not deal.
That's what he does.
I love him. That's
He's
a
the best.
perfect imitation of him.
Been trying.
And he too sounds nothing like that in person.
Oh, really?
So what a choice he made.
Oh, it's amazing. It's just like he's just like,
I'm going to the store. I will be receiving myself some eggs. I will be eating the eggs. I will be eating them scrambled. And I need my men. I need my boat.
That's really good. It's like a kind of more old time version of Liam Neeson.
Yeah, he's got something, but I just love the way he's hilarious in that role. He's really good in that role.
He is.
He's so good. Anyway, all right, there's other stuff. So, Steph, you're at 10. You're 10 away from the goal of 20 today.
You guys, let's go.
10 away. You're at 10 right now. All right, so let's get to this trailer because this was a very highly anticipated movie and it was pushed back. And then, of course, is Mickey 17. And that is Bong Joon-ho's latest movie, and it stars Robert Pattinson. Warner Brothers Pictures finally released the first trailer for Parasite and Snowpiercer director Bong Joon-ho's next feature and the darkly comedic sci-fi thriller Mickey 17. The film was originally slated for last March, but reportedly impacted by strikes and other production shifts that led it to requiring more time in post-production. The story follows Mickey, a disposable employee sent to colonize an ice world. Under his contract with the company, anytime he dies, his body is simply reprinted, albeit with his memories still preserved. The problem soon happens when his 17th incarnation, he comes home to find his 18th incarnation in bed, leading to all sorts of problems, having two versions of himself at once. Toni Collette, Mark Ruffalo, Stephen Yeun, and Naomi Ackel co-star in the film based on Edward Ashton's novel. The project marks Bong's first feature since Parasite, becoming the first non-English language movie to win Best Picture at the Oscars. So the movie comes out in 17. And I am curious about this film. Now, it was moved. This is the one. Normally, this is what I would say. That it's concerning that the movie was moved from March until January of 2025, because January is normally a toilet bowl for movies in general, right? The only reason I don't feel as much is the first question is this getting a limited release in December to qualify for Oscars? That's part one, which I don't know if it is or if it isn't. Part two, everything was moved to 2025. Everything. And so if everything, I mean, there was so much because of the strikes that was moved to 2025. And if that was the case, and they're like, well, where do we put this? Where are if we put it in February, it's going to get annihilated by so-and-so big release. It's going to get this. If we put it in March and April, that's almost starting a summer season because all that stuff got backed out. The amount of stuff coming out in 2025 is insane. So if they go, well, why don't we put it out in January? We'll get some buzz on this thing, and we'll have a really strong January. And they're promoting it. They're putting, they're going to put some stuff behind it. I mean, you're going to have to. So normally I'd be nervous about a January move, but because of the strike, I'm like, okay, it makes a little bit more sense, and it's so stacked. But I don't know. Should I be more concerned, or does that make sense?
No, I think that I really trust Bong Joon-ho. This man has only made a handful of movies when you think about kind of how talented and what he can. He could be making a movie a year if he wanted to, but really, really worked on enough movies where they all are hits. Like if you watch every single one of his movies is a good or great or perfect movie, in my opinion. So I think that I trust his process a lot. And I do think that it was in the moment of a strike where all of these movies, like you said, got moved. So I'm not too concerned about it. And a lot of the delay could have been as simple as, well, now that we are holding it back, let's just wait because this feels like the best date, as opposed, like it might already be ready, locked.
Totally. And I think that the trailer represents that this is, I mean, the trailer looks cool. I mean, the trailer,
really cool.
The trailer looks cool. It looks, I mean, I like this kind of quirky role for Robert Pattinson. I've been a Robert Pattinson fan since the Rover film. The movie Rover, when that movie came out, I remember when Ellis and I saw it, I went, oh, this poor guy has been so misrepresented in these Twilight movies because he did what he had to do in those movies, but he's going to get stereotyped, and he blew past that stereotype because he was great. Even go back and you look at how good he was in the Harry Potter movie. He was good in that movie too, but like it was that hold that Twilight had on, and can he do? I remember Winston and I talk about this famously when he was on Collider Live, and Roxy and I were saying, it was before he was even cast. We're like, what would be great Batman is Robert Pattinson.
Oh,
and, yeah, there's video evidence of it. And Winston was like so opposed to it and said, nah, the Twilight kid, come on. I'm like, you can't judge it on the Twilight. You can't. He's such a good actor, and then other good times, other stuff that he's done is just he is a very, very solid actor. So to play with this and then put him with a director of this caliber, and looking at his first movie since Parasite, it looks solid. It just January scares me.
Yeah, I really liked instantly that you hear his voice before you see him talking. I don't know, for me, it mentally, like, adjusted me more to him taking a character choice that was pretty intense, judging from the fact that he's a British actor, so
Mm-hmm.
this is, like, a huge leap in voice acting for him, and then when I saw the character, I was like, "Oh, this is really cool," and then I just think it looks really great. I mean, there are shows, like, similar to this, but I like this kind of genre, and I'm curious how it differs itself, but I'm sure it is different in some way if Bong Joon-ho decided to take this project on.
Yeah, me too. And I think that is this from this novel, and I like the idea. It's almost like what's the Tom Cruise movie, the Edge of Tomorrow, like that type of idea. The person just keeps dying, you keep coming back, but this time it's combined with another one that survives. And there was a script, and I wish I had Naveed. I just don't want to text him right now, but Naveed was working on this script, and I think Eric Olson when I was working at Silver. And it was essentially kind of this respawning of this character that kept coming back, kept coming back, kept coming back. And it's similar to this, but this is the type of movie. The reason why I get excited for it, it's because and I know, and I don't blame you guys who are watching live or watching on the replay are just bored with me saying this all the time. But I love this kind of deep, character-driven, story-based. You don't have to spend $100 million on it. Let's trust the audience that they're going to be able to lock in, intellectually and just be on this journey with us. And let's just watch actors be actors, directors be directors, editors be editors. This is the type of movie that could assemble the whole team and show you what filmmaking is all about. It could also miss, but it just, and then you combine science fiction with it and all that. You got me interested.
Yeah, definitely. And then I always like to look at the comments first off to see where people are at. And it's so funny when people want to root for you, they really are great. And people want to root for Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson right now, which is a turn from before, just a few years ago. Everyone's like, I don't want him as Batman. And now everyone's like, more Pattinson.
Right.
And then people like Bong Joon-ho, so everyone's like, I'm in the theater for this one. I saw so many comments that were saying that. I'm in the theater for this one, which is always really nice to see.
I hope so, because as I mentioned, there is so much competition in 2025. It is insane how much competition there is. I mean, I can even bring up, I'm going to bring up the releases again. I've done this before, but I want to show everybody again, just to reiterate how crazy 2025 is. I mean, it's insane, Steph. I mean, let's go through it again, and I will.
Yeah.
I'll bring it up here right now. Actually, let's do it this way. Okay, so this is the rest of the year right now, but I'm going to get to January. Starting in January of 2025, it is insanity. Wow, there's a lot still going on in November. Holy moly. All right, January. So you've got Wolfman, let's see, whatever January 10th is, Den of Thieves, January 17th, Paddington in Peru, Wolfman, Better Man, January 24th, Flight Risk, Presence, some other things. But then January 31st is where Mickey, so it's like the edge of January is Mickey 17. It's like the edge. You got Dogman also coming out, both on January 31st. Then February 2025, you've got a re-release of Cowboy Bebop. You got With Love on February 7th, Bridget Jones, Captain America, The Smurfs, and another Romeo and Juliet movie, all on February 14th. That's a big Valentine's Day. February 21st, The Monkey, Unbreakable Boy. March 25th, an untitled Disney film, untitled Ryan Coogler film. March 14th, Black Bag, Novocaine. March 21st, Alto Nights, Snow White, The Woman in the Yard. And then April 4th, Minecraft. April 11th, untitled Disney film, The Amateur. April 18th, Michael, untitled Warner Brothers, untitled Angel Studios film. And then this is where it gets crazy stuff. The summer, listen to this in May. Thunderbolts, Flowerville Street, Mission Impossible 8, untitled Disney film, The New Karate Kid. Then June 6th, the new John Wick spinoff, Ballerina. June 13th, Elio. How to Train Your Dragon live action, 28 years later, untitled Warner Brothers film, F1, Megan 2, untitled Sony Marvel live action, and then July, Jurassic World Rebirth, untitled Disney film, untitled Angel Studios film, untitled Matt Stone, Trey Parker, Superman, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Naked Gun, The Fantastic Four, and that's just July. I mean, this is up until July. And then The Bad Guys 2, untitled Warner Bros. Fan. The list goes on and on. So point is, that's just leading up to August and what's coming out. So it's just like, if I'm Mickey 17, it's like, stick it at the end of January, play us into February, and get us out of the way of the big dogs.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's a crazy slate. Like, once you get into it, I'm thinking those movies are a lot of the ones that you named are so on my list that I feel like it's going to be my biggest theater going year in a long time.
Yeah, it seems like it. So what say you guys? Do you think that Mickey 17 is going to be a hit? Do you think it's going to be a miss? Do you think it's right to put it in January? Are you excited to see it? Could it be one of those big surprise hits? Or could it be just something that, just falls by the wayside? We'll see. Put your comments in there. Tell us exactly what you think. All right, currently 12 questions for Steph, trying to hit that 20 mark at least today. Steph's got to beat her record of 15 from last week. And let's get to this story. And this is something that I thought was interesting. Ted Sarandos, who runs Netflix, has talked a lot about movie releases in general, cinema releases, and he said they're inefficient. Cinema releases, a new statement that says cinema releases are inefficient. So Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos says that streaming, not theatrical, is the best path for big budget movies to take when it comes to his service. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the remarks came during a TV industry gathering in London. Reportedly, he said the streamer doesn't feel a business need to recoup film investment with theatrical runs in cinemas. He admits that it's due to their massive scale that this is something unique to them and works for them, whereas smaller streamers aren't so lucky and thus rely on theatrical exhibition. It is unique to Netflix that we have enough scale. We can uniquely spend $200 million on a film and have enough scale of viewership to put it directly on Netflix without having to recover some of the economics in the theater, which I think is a fairly inefficient way to distribute some movies. Netflix makes their revenue through ads and subscriptions. Sarandos goes on to say the value proposition is what drives the streamer's success, as audiences don't care about release windows. He says, today our members can watch a world of entertainment for a fraction of the price of a box set of The Sopranos in 2007. And they don't have to wait 2 months for all the episodes of a show to come out for a film to finish its theatrical run. Audiences don't care about windows at all. They never talk about it over dinner. He adds that when it comes to business, if you're protecting the business, you're pretty much dead. Instead, what entertainment giants need to do is constantly challenge ourselves to break the business and move our business forward on behalf of our consumers. All right, Steph, you hear these comments by Ted Sarandos, and what do you make of them?
I was so hoping that you brought this up on right after we were talking about the movie release dates, because I think that it's interesting, because I think 2025 will be a year where I want to be in the theater, and I also can't see a year in my life where I don't want to be in the theater. I love the theater, but I also understand, I can empathize with where they're coming from. If it doesn't really make quite a difference to them, and their site works perfectly fine with just streaming movies straight to Netflix, then I do think that there's a market for that. And I think that, who am I to say that they shouldn't do that if that works for them? Do I think everyone should do that? Absolutely not. And they're not saying that either. So while I don't love it, I want every movie, if we can, at the theater. It makes sense. So there's a lot of people that can't go to the theater for financial reasons, physical reasons, so many different things. So it is, I understand the point completely, but it does break your heart a little bit.
Sure, because it's just, but it makes sense for his business. As a movie fan, you're probably like, I hate that guy. I don't want to hear that guy talk.
Right.
The movie fan,
right.
You're like, shut up. You're going to ruin movies. But for his business, you got to understand kind of what he's saying, because he says it point blank. Now, if he would have said that it doesn't make sense for anybody, then I'm like, shut up, Ted. But that's not what he's saying. He's saying
that'd be really messed up.
It'd be stupid. But that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is, look, for our business, we are blessed enough that we have enough overhead, we have enough subscriptions. We don't need to do theatrical. Like, the pushback would be like, well, wouldn't it be cool to see, Beverly Hills Cop 4 in the theater? And wouldn't that be fun? And yeah, it'd be fun, but the money we're going to put into it to trying to recoup some cost here and there, not worth it for us. In the way that, does Apple really need to do it? No, but they still try to do it. They don't need to do it either. That's why when everybody's like, oh, Killers of the Flower Moon did so bad and it ate so much crap, that wasn't really their goal. They're in the same way that, this Clooney and Brad Pitt movie that's coming out, the Wolves movie coming out, they're not going to try to make money on it's coming out theatrically, but if it doesn't do well, that's not what they're going for. They're trying to get more and more people aware of their streaming platform and get more people signed up there because it's Apple. They have money coming out of their ears. But it's a bummer to hear because you're like, well, wait a minute. We want everything to be in the theater. But it's just not how the business is anymore. It's like there's so many movies that you can watch and fun movies that are coming out. And look at Happy Gilmore, for example. Happy Gilmore is going to be a streaming movie on Netflix, part 2, which is insane to think that one of the biggest comedies of 1996 is going to be a streaming film and will do very well for them.
Very well, and it makes sense makes sense to me. And to be absolutely fair, I've been very hard on Netflix. I think a lot of the things that they do is frankly kind of gross. Yeah. But they didn't start as a movie production. They started as kind of what they're doing now, which is on demand.
Yeah, they were an answer to Blockbuster.
Exactly. They're on demand shows and movies. So for us to be like, why don't you do that? Although I would want every movie in theater, it doesn't actually make sense when you think about it. We talk about this all the time. Not everyone has to do the same thing.
Right.
Not everything has to be made for everyone. It's okay for people to just do their thing, although there's repercussions of starting a standard and things kind of following path. But no one's really people followed Netflix into this streaming model, but not every company can do that or should do that.
Yeah, it's true. It's like everybody has their own different business models. There's times, and I'm with you, there's times that Sarandos has said things, I'm like, this guy's just so out of touch with things that are going on. But this one, the clarifying on what makes sense for his business. I mean, if he's saying that this is they don't need to do it, then who are you or I to say, yeah, you do? It's like, yeah, we'd love to see some of your movies in the theater, but if you don't think that your business needs it and you're sustaining it, and you're not like, oh, just kidding, we need to put a whole bunch out there, and then who are we to say? It sucks that you can't see some of these things. Like there are some movies that you're like, oh man, that would have been really cool to see in the theater. There's tons of Netflix movies that would have been fun to see in the theater.
Yeah.
But
they have a ton of action films that I love the Netflix originals. Extraction, Old Guard.
Right.
Adam Project. Those all are really, really great films to me that I remember. And I really like them. But I think it will be interesting to see how it plays out with current deals they already have in place with people like Adam Sandler and Ryan with Knives Out. And how he feels like about that, because Knives Out 2 did pretty well, if I remember, in theater. But
it was limited. He doesn't care about this.
He was limited. He doesn't care, so it probably won't matter. But I think it will be good to kind of set a tone that when writers and directors are bringing a project to Netflix or signing on, they know from the start it's not going to go to theater.
I think that's the difference. I think when you go to Netflix as a filmmaker, you understand it's most likely just going to debut on Netflix, as opposed to with Amazon, because Amazon has theaters and Amazon has stuff. Like you look at that big controversy that came from Roadhouse and everything that was promised there. Roadhouse, how that was supposed to go to theatrical, and it wasn't. All the actors thought. I had Billy Magnuson on the show, which I've been sitting on the interview because his new show, the franchise, debuts in October, and that's when I think that show's going to be a hit. I'm waiting for that show to debut, and then I want people to see the interview. But he actually talks about the Roadhouse thing. Everybody thought that he was not happy that it didn't go to theatrical. There are a lot of people that weren't, and if you go into it thinking that there's going to be a theatrical, then that's where the issue is. You look at the thing that happened with Denis Villeneuve with the first Dune, and how that almost went to just streaming, and how much of a disaster that would have been if that happened, right?
Right.
And because they weren't told, there were things, and the thing that happened with with Black Widow, when all that was happening, and how that went to streaming, and granted it was like pandemic stuff and all that, but this is to me this is very different circumstance with what he's saying here, because I think, like you said, with Netflix, you sign up, you know it's coming.
Yeah.
All right. So put your thoughts in there, guys, whether you're watching live, whether you are watching on the replay, whether you're listening. If you're listening on Spotify, by the way, now there are comments that you can make on Spotify also. So if you comment, if you're watching this on Spotify, do that. All right. We have other things that we are going to get to. We have one more, and then we're going to start getting to some of your comments. And we are at currently 15 questions. Ask anything that you want to ask, whether it is about movies, pop culture, TV, anything in general, behind the scenes stuff that you want to know. That's what the question section is for. Now, there are things here that there's always stories, like a potentially, like I had on Collider Live, we had on Matthew Lillard, and he was a great interview, a lot of fun. And I'm working on getting him back on this show. And what was funny is I told my daughter that he was coming on the show, and you know why she got super excited, and I couldn't understand why. Do you know why she got excited?
Why?
What movie do you think that she was excited that he was coming in from? You know, do you know who Matthew Lillard is?
Yes.
Okay, from Scream.
I mean, she likes Scream?
It wasn't Scream, and it wasn't Scooby.
Okay, I have no idea.
Five Nights at Freddy. She is.
Oh, I should have known that. Actually, I knew she liked watching that. I didn't. I forgot he.
She doesn't necessarily. I mean, she does love the movie, but she's more so into the games and the novels and all the fan fiction. It's her Star Wars. She loves it.
That's so fun.
She loves it. So, so she was really excited he's coming in, and there are certain stories that my daughter just likes, whether it's that stuff. And the other thing, I saw this today, I was like, I got to cover this for her. And I would assume that you're a gamer, so this probably runs into you also. Were you a big Sims person?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
I mean, not like some people spent their lives on it, but it was definitely fun.
Well, here you go. EA has now confirmed the live action Sims film. Now, what is that going to look like? First reported on back in May, it's official now. Live action, the Sims movie is coming from Amazon, MGM Studios. Electronic Arts, who created and has been the home of the long-running gaming series, made the announcement of the project, which is in development alongside Margot Robbie's Lucky Chap production company. Kate Herron, known for directing the first season of Disney's Loki, will helm the feature from a script that she is co-writing with Bryony Redmond. Vertigo Entertainment is also producing the project. In the game, players control virtual avatars and have them do all manners of things, from building homes to falling in love, raising children, even killing their characters. Successive expansion packs and games allow the players to do more and more. The first game debuted in 2000 and saw a subsequent main line of entries in 2004, 2009, 2014. 20th Century Studios attempted a film adaptation back in 2007, Brian Lynch penning the script. Robbie, Roy Lee, Joseph McNamara, and Tom Ackerley will produce. MGM, Amazon Studios, and Lucky Chap previously teamed on Saltburn and My Old Ass. I feel like that movie, by the way, is that a movie you're going to see, My Old Ass? Do you know what that is?
Yes, for sure.
That is the Aubrey Plaza thing. That's getting some rave reviews, so I feel like that's right up your alley too. But
yeah, definitely.
But so the Sims coming out, it's hard for me to say, well, that's a stupid idea that they're doing that, because there's times when you can say that and you get the Emoji Movie and you turn out to be right about saying that. And then there's times like, they're doing a Barbie movie? What do you mean? What are they going to do with a Barbie movie? And then it's an Oscar-nominated film. So,
right.
I don't know what they're going to do with Sims and what the story is and how they're going to play that. They're going to make it the same way like Barbie. They're going to make it part of the game, that there's actually these things that are created by other people and living in that life. So I don't know. You hear about this, Steph. Do you think this is something that should continue to happen?
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, okay, if they do this, it should probably be in a similar but obviously unique vein of Barbie. And then I saw that Margot Robbie's production company is attached to it. So I think it's in good hands. And I do think it should be different and separate itself. But I think going meta with it is probably a nice direction, but it was only a matter of time before this happened.
Yeah.
The Sims to me is even more fruitful exploration than what I would have thought Barbie would have been, which might be a hindrance because I think Barbie felt like, where are you going to go with this? And so it was surprise. Part of the awe was the shock of them going
Right.
meta with it.
Right.
But I do think that there's something to be done here that's really fun and weird.
You guys think the Sims movie can work? Let's see what happens first type of scenario, like myself and Steph? Or do you think, no, don't even bother? Or no, this is a slam dunk. Let's do it. Last story before we get to your questions, and this is something that I think that we need to cover on this, and that is, look, we have been tough on Star Wars over the last couple of shows, whether it's The Acolyte or Obi-Wan or whatever, Mandalorian Season 3. One of the things that we have all been on board with, though, is the Jedi Survivor stories, Cal Kestis, all that stuff. Well, they are going to do a third video game in the series, and I think closing out the trilogy. This is the finale. Respawn Entertainment is confirming to be working on a third and final game in the recent Star Wars Jedi franchise revival. The next title will make a trilogy closer for Cameron Monaghan's Cal Kestis character that began with Fallen Order in 2019 and continued with Survivor last year. EA Entertainment and Technology President Laura Meal, speaking at EA's Investor Relations Day, spoke about the company's track record with Star Wars and having delivered over $5 billion in net bookings. So then added that the confirmation of a third final game in the series. This impressive track record includes, of course, the Star Wars Jedi games, where over 40 million Star Wars fans have connected with Cal Kestis and his arc of becoming a powerful Jedi. Respawn is working hard to bring the final chapter of his thrilling story to players. The project was unofficially revealed via job listings last year, and no formal announcement have yet been made. Okay, so this is, to me, a no-brainer. As I did in the setup to this story, you know, we've been tough on the current regime at Lucasfilm, and I stick with the idea that I think that in order to really make that IP and that franchise work in TV and film, you got to gut that whole organization up top. You got to get rid of everybody who's making film and TV up there. You got to get rid of them. You got to bring somebody in new. Just ain't happening anymore. However, what I've been very clear on is that I think both the animation people there and the people doing the video games have their stuff together and know what's happening. These are the things that when these games come out, people have been excited about them. People have been talking about them. People care. At one point, I had heard, and they were pretty credible source, they were working on a Cal Kestis TV show. And that kind of fell through. That should have happened also. And it can. And when this trilogy adds up, unless they kill him off in the game, they should bring this character into something or have him do something in one of these movies or TV shows to continue it on and show what you said years ago, that, hey, all this canon stuff, it all matters. It all connects. And just like, well, no, if you guys buy it, for the people who buy it, it'll count for you. But for everybody else, no. But you hear that this is getting a trilogy, no brainer, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. It is a really great game, and I feel like they probably wanted to announce it on the heels of the what's the last game? I played it. But I think that this game is way more liked than any other recent game that they've had. So, and Cal Kestis is such a loved character, it makes sense that they would do it. I was a little bit surprised of how soon they announced it after just the premiere of the.
Well, it hasn't been officially announced.
Oh, it hasn't?
Mm-mm. I think what they're saying is, well, Respawn Entertainment confirmed it's working on a third. I guess they confirmed it. I guess they confirmed it.
Well, I mean, even if it's not officially announced, the fact that it's out in the zeitgeist when Outlaws hasn't even been out a month is a little bit surprising, but I don't think it's a big deal necessarily.
That game kind of came and went, though, huh?
Yeah, it did. And I will say this. We looked up, Harry would be able to explain this better. I guess there's a way that you could download it differently. And when you do that, it takes away all of the lagging. And that changed the game for us, because when you're lagging and it's looking pixelated and the visuals don't look good, you're like, what the hell? and everything kind of doesn't work from there. But when we re-downloaded, it's like a different game, and it was actually, I really enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it, and we don't play that many stealth mode games. A lot of people didn't like the stealth mode, and I wonder if that's because they've played stealth mode games that are better at said stealth mode. But we liked the stealth mode quality in the game, and some of the criticisms with the game I understand, but when you're playing it, I also understand the choices they made to make it that way. So I do think that I trust the game division, like you've been saying, even if this one wasn't necessarily beloved in that way, in the way that Jedi Fallen Order and the Jedi series is with Cal Kestis.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the Jedi Survivor one was everywhere. Everyone was talking about it. People continue to talk about it. Like, there's a reason it's getting a third game. That, when a Star Wars game comes out, it's like, oh, how is it? And then it's like, yeah, it's fine, it's okay, it's all right. And then it just disappears. Like, nobody's talking about it until you brought it up. I don't know if I ever would have heard about it ever again, because then you brought it up. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. I haven't played it, and people aren't talking about it in the way that they talked about this. So that would make sense to me why they would make another one. So anyway, I'm curious what everybody else thinks. If you think that, I would feel everyone else feels like this is a no-brainer, right? Put your comments in there. Tell us what you think. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. Make sure you check us out there too. All right, we're going to get to your questions. I think there's one person that obviously that I think there's one person that put in like 18 questions for you. So you're
Yay!
I think that person got you over there too. The rest of the audience today said, well, you know what, let's fight it out. But then one person got you there. So you're going to ask, so we'll get those questions in just a second. But before we do, I want to tell you guys about our good friends over at both Built and, of course, BetterHelp. I'll tell you about both of them right now. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Let me ask you guys a question. What is something that you'd love to learn? As an adult, do you really make time to learn new things as often as you like, or what was lost in childhood? My kids are always learning new things and always trying new stuff, and I see that wonderment, and I hear my daughter talking about learning a new language, and I'm like, I want to learn a new language. Well, therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder, because your back to school era, it can really come at any age. So I think just talking to people in general has really helped so many people. I've talked about it on this show, how much BetterHelp has been beneficial to Roxy Stryer. She's talked about it, and she's been with BetterHelp for so long. Seen how it's not only helped her, people in my family have just being able to talk. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, you really should give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you switch therapists anytime. No additional charge. So rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. You got to visit betterhelp.com/bigthing today. You get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp, HELP.com/bigthing. Built. I really hope that people are going to start taking advantage here of Built, because listen up, renters. If you ever feel like you're stuck in this loop of rent payments, just watching your money vanish into thin air, it is time to turn that rent game around and start earning some serious rewards, and that's where Built Rewards comes in. You've done that before. You've been there. You're like, I'm burning cash with all the rent checks. I'm there all the time. I feel like it. It's frustrating, but here's the deal. Built Rewards has figured out a way to make rent more rewarding. You say goodbye to the money bonfire and hello to a renter's revolution with Built. Built is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Every month, you pay your rent and you watch the Built points roll in. You can use your points to book fitness studio classes, redeem them towards a future rent payment. They're designed to meet your lifestyle. Pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Built points have consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guy and Bankrate. Earn points by paying rent now when you go to joinbuilt.com/bigthing. That's joinbuilt, BILT.com/bigthing. And make sure to use our URL so they know that we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/bigthing to start earning points with your rent payments today. All right. Thank you to our friends over at Built and, of course, BetterHelp. And do me a favor, even if you are, I know there's a lot of people who listen on Apple Podcasts and a lot of people who are listening on Spotify. Even if you do listen over there, will you tag me on whether it's Twitter or Instagram, whatever, and let me know when you do purchase one of our sponsors. Let me know about it. I like to know who's purchasing them and what you think of them and all that. I get those all the time, and I like to hear how it's working for people. So, All right, let's get to these questions, Steph, because you hit your goal. You hit 23, and I'm very curious to how many of them were from this one particular gentleman. But you're getting a lot of cool questions.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
how
matter.
We got there.
Doesn't matter how we got there. We got there. All right. First question is anything geeky. Steph, who do you think was your best dressed at the Emmys?
Oh, that's such a good question. Let me really review this.
Yeah,
I think. Can you come back to me?
Yeah, if you think about. I'm not going to have an answer for that question. I'll tell you
Okay.
that I was the best dressed, not watching it in my pajamas. How about that?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yes.
All right. So let me ask this question. You look up at those pictures of what you think.
Okay.
And in the meantime, Matt Boyle, did you know that Michael Giacchino's son Mick Giacchino is scoring the Penguin show? I did not know that, but that's pretty cool to hear. And I mean, eventually there's only so much Michael can do, to where he's just like, look, I'm teaching my son how to do this, so it's a family business now. And that to me makes all the sense in the world. And if he's anything like even a fraction of what his pops got, we're going to be in good hands for the Penguin. And already, I can't imagine they would hire somebody that's not sound, and he's got the genes.
Right. I'm so excited for that show.
Me too. So as I've been saying, with these reactions that we're doing, we have. My friend Tina and I reacted to Long Legs, and that comes out on Friday, that reaction. And then probably tomorrow I'm going to have the 2 reactions of Agatha. But then I was like, well, what movie should she watch next? And I was like, well, I kind of want her to watch The Penguin with me. So in order to do that, I needed to watch The Batman. So to revisit, because I don't know if I've watched The Batman all the way through since I've seen it in the theater. So it'll be kind of cool to watch that
that'll be
again.
fun.
Yeah, and then I did Logan with my friend Sam, and she'd never seen it before. So we have quite a few coming out that I think is going to be interesting. But do you have a best dress for us?
Okay, so I thought that Anna Sawai looked amazing. It was very like understated, not too much, but I just thought she was bringing like this Japanese Aubrey Hepburn vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then not Anna, but Hannah Einbinder, I thought looked really, really great. And yeah, that's my top 2 right now.
How did I look, and did I find my boat?
Amazing.
Was he there?
You look so good. I think he was there.
Okay, good.
I actually didn't see how he was dressed.
Yeah, he had a bunch of boats on his tie. All right.
Yeah, that's all he wore.
That's it. Mike Joyce, what are your top 5 movies of the year so far, and the most top 5 anticipated for the rest? Well, the top 5 anticipated is going to be tough because I think only really like. I'll tell you the ones that pop into my head right away. The Joker pops into my head. Joker 2 pops into my head. Saturday Night pops into my head. I'm trying to think of the other. I'm sure I'm missing some other ones. Those are the 2 that hit right away. Am I missing? I'm sure. I don't know if it's super anticipated, but I'm curious more so than I had been in the past for Kraven the Hunter. I'm curious about that one. I'm trying to think what else, because we hit a lot of the movies. Yeah, Joker is one for sure.
Gladiator 2.
Gladiator 2. Gladiator 100%.
And Wicked for me.
Yeah, that one not as much for me, but I think that's Moana 2 because I want to see it with the kids. That'll be one. I am curious about Wolves also, and Nosferatu. Nosferatu is the other one. Yeah, that's one.
And you want to do this is 2025, the Bob Dylan movie. You're really excited.
Yeah, that's 2025, right? Yeah, that'll probably make my list because James Mangold and Chalamet. As far as favorite movie, I can't give you the top 5 in order yet because I don't know, and B, I don't want to give that away yet because I'm going to do it but I'll tell you that Dune 2 is going to land in there.
Yep.
I'll tell you right now that Transformers 1 is going to land in the top 5. So those 2 movies, I'll tell you, will land in my top 5. I don't want to give the whole thing away right now, but like that's those 2 for sure. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised about Dune 2. And if you saw my review of Transformers 1, you won't be surprised at that.
Yeah.
You got a top 5 so far?
Not so far, but probably Furiosa will land up there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Dune? And then Dune 2, yeah, obviously. Dude,
Right.
I that will be surprising if someone knocks that off as my number one.
No one's
Not
touching
saying
that.
it's impossible, but I don't think so.
What could possibly knock that off?
It would have to be like a complete wow surprise.
Like Saturday, because I know you're a Saturday Night Live girl, so you got a shot. Apparently, that's a really good movie. So who knows? Maybe that. I doubt it though. I doubt it.
They just don't have Hans Zimmer doing the music.
I know.
There's so many things about that movie
So
that
good.
I just don't think you can beat.
I know. It's true. All right, let's see. Next one here, and that's Ralphie King. Thoughts on the Ubisoft CEO potentially being ousted because of the massive stock drop after the failure of Star Wars Outlaws? Interesting. I didn't realize it was a big failure. It makes sense because, like I said, I didn't hear about it. But look, here's the problem with that. I mean, I first of all, I understand because business is business. You're judged on your last performance, right? But if you're the Ubisoft CEO and you go, "Hey, I got it. I got a Star Wars game. I'm good," and then it's like, Star Wars is not the brand it used to be. It's just not the brand it used to be. It doesn't have that anymore, and it's just like, okay. What's sad about it is that when Star Wars is good now, you're like, no, this one's actually good. You know,
right.
that sucks. That's a thing.
Yeah,
that sucks.
That's so true. That's the no, but you should watch this one.
This one actually
this one's actually
this one actually works, and it's like that sucks.
Crazy.
That sucks. As opposed to, they did it again. They haven't done anything in God knows how long. But the game with Outlaws, and I was talking about how the games, the animation in the games people have been working pretty well. The creative of it, look, you liked Outlaws. I don't know. I didn't play it. I didn't see, but apparently, not that good. But getting ousted for that, and you're only as good as your last project, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I'm curious to see the actual numbers because it's still a good game. But numbers do. That's the name of the game.
It's the nature of the beast, man. It's true. Ewok, your buddy Ewok.
Ewok.
Hey, Steph, what's your favorite movie reaction that you've ever been part of?
The one that always comes into my mind first, and I'm just like still chasing this. This is like messed up, but I chase a cathartic cry because I don't really cry in my real life. So when I can cry through a movie, which doesn't happen a lot, I'm like, oh man, that felt good. Like, hell yeah.
What movie was that?
My Name is Khan. It's kind of like the Indian version. It's a different story, but it's similar version of Forrest Gump.
Oh, okay.
It has those vibes just completely ingested into it.
Okay.
But it is, I mean, it just broke me. I don't know. Okay. So that might be it just because I've never cried that much in a movie.
Interesting.
So I'm still chasing that.
Not that you would cry as much during this movie, but Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one of your favorite movies, right, of all time?
Yeah, yes.
I could figure because I was like, if you haven't seen that movie, it's like that's
right.
The first one you should be. That's
there was also a movie that I couldn't believe I hadn't seen. How am I forgetting it?
Who's in it?
It's a space movie.
Spaceballs?
No. It's with Bruce Willis and
Armageddon.
No, that's a.
Oh, Fifth Element. Fifth Element.
Yes.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
I love that movie.
When did you see it? Recently.
Recently.
Oh, okay.
I was like, holy shit!
Oh, it's a fun movie.
I can't believe I didn't see this
Luke
movie.
Besson. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman is ridiculous in the best way possible.
Just so good.
All right, let's see. Next one here, and this one is from Scott Cross. I just finished the Wise Guy doc this weekend. My only complaint is I wish it was longer. I can't get enough of The Sopranos. Got to get Steph's thoughts. Have you seen the documentary on the David Chase stuff?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
I really want to.
Yeah,
have you?
Yeah, I watched 2 parts of it already. I feel exactly the same way. Thought it was really good. I would have liked to seen 5 more parts of it. I would like to, there would have been, there was cool. There's some things that I'd known before, other things that I didn't. I thought the end was, you could guess the end of the documentary. It's fairly predictable how they end it, but it's fun, I guess. But
on Max.
It's on HBO Max. Yeah. So you should watch it, but I think you'd really enjoy it. But I liked it a lot. I thought it was a good insight, and I thought that the way they did it was very creative. They essentially have Melfi's office set up, but instead it's the director interviewing David Chase, and they even they parallel Tony's first meeting with Melfi as he's walking in to David Chase walking in, sitting down, having this. So and they really dive into like David Chase's relationship with his mother and how she essentially was Livia Soprano, and it's good. You'll love it. It's
Okay,
yeah. If
cool.
you're a Sopranos fan, you definitely need to check it out for sure.
Yeah.
All right, here's one of many from the great Callum. Is this from Callum?
Hell yeah.
Maybe I think this is from. I'm not sure. Callum Fadian. Rings of Power episode 5 was the best of the whole show. Steph, you've been watching season 2 or not yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I love this show, guys. I
Okay.
don't know what's wrong. I don't want to say you're wrong. But I think there are certain shows when the overall discourse I agree with, and then there's certain where I'm like, wow, I can kind of see where you're going. I just don't agree. And a lot of it is that it's like boring dialogue with two people on screen constantly. I like that. So it's really working for me. I really like the show, and I agree that the most recent episodes, they're just getting better and better.
I think what it's less of, maybe, not to speak for everybody, but I think that the problem that happened was that the first one was so kind of subpar that they didn't get people back. You know, it's like, hey, but I promise this season is good. And it's like, yeah, but I went down that road and there's just so much to watch. I don't know if I want to go back to it. That's kind of where the boat that I am on, right? And it's like, look, I said the same thing yesterday. I was talking about. I didn't know if I was going to watch WandaVision right away, right? And then I was like, well, look, let me check it out. And then I said it was probably a good thing that I could watch with my wife and to see if she dug it. And I was right about that. And so it was a fun thing to watch with her. And it was and as we were getting ready to watch the Batman, I'm like, well, this one is, dude, we're gonna get some laugh. It's not going to be, she can finish the day, not like, oh, because the Batman's, it's like a Fincher movie. So it's dark. So this one was lighter. So let's give that a shot. The Lord of the Rings show, I just don't know if I want to invest in it. I think I'm looking forward to seeing Andy Serkis directing the Gollum movie. Like, I'll return to it in that because it kind of connects to the Lord of the Rings that I know and love from Peter Jackson. This one is just someone else's take on it, and I didn't necessarily love their take, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's I am apprehensive about the Gollum movies, but I love Andy Serkis,
Yeah, me
and
too.
I think that's one of the coolest, craziest performances ever. So I'm definitely gonna watch it and be excited about it, but I'm apprehensive.
Understood. Anything geeky? What's your favorite fall mixed drink? I don't even have one anymore. It's like
I know I don't drink alcohol really.
For me, a glass of wine is strangely enough been like the thing that I look for. Like the other night, I said to my wife, because I was in that, I worked all day and I wanted to go home and just kind of chill out for a second. I was like, I'm going to open a bottle of wine. She goes, you're going to have a bottle of wine? Or are you going to do a glass of wine? And I was like, all right, fine, I won't open it. Because I know I would have just crushed the whole thing.
I know it's hard when if you're sharing a bottle with two people, it will go quickly.
Like that, we went to a restaurant with my uncle and my aunt and the kids and my wife, and my uncle and I were like, let's get some wine, and then we'll get a bottle. We knocked down like 2 or 3 bottles like that.
Yeah.
Crushed it. So there's nothing to do with,
like East Coast is making you turn into more Italian soprano Christian mode.
Oh yeah, is that maybe?
You're always getting deli sandwiches.
I'm mad at you. I am mad at you. I sent you a wonderful picture of a sandwich to which no response was, not even a heart.
No, that was crazy work of me. I'm looking at it right now.
How delicious does that sandwich look?
Delicious.
Right.
It was. It really, and the fact that was half of the sandwich, Christian.
It was half.
Wasn't lying.
I'm gonna bring up that. I'm gonna
photo.
I'm gonna show them the sandwich.
Release the photo.
Release the photo of the sandwich.
It is quite the sandy.
I
will say that.
This is again a half of the sandwich. This is just a half. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play it here. This is the sandwich and it's a deli right near me, and it is so delicious. Look at this thing. Well, that's gonna take up the whole.
There you
screen.
go.
And I gotta bring that down there. Hold on. Where is it? There it is. Look at that thing. God, that's such a good sandwich. And
it's a honker.
It's so delicious. Delicious. It's delicious.
Is that an East Coast thing to slice the pickles like that?
This particular one was. It was so.
Okay.
You'll lose your mind if you go to this deli. It's so good.
Because I think that's a good shout. I always want this is how I work. I want every piece of thing that comes into a
Yeah.
overall thing
Mm-hmm.
in every bite.
And everything. I'm telling. I'm because I'm talking about it right now. I guarantee you that before I have to do my next thing that I have to do after this, I'm gonna go get a meatball sandwich.
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah, it's definitely a sandwich
I have
day.
to. I have to. All right. So next one. This is from Callum, who asked many fun questions, and one of them is, Steph, what ethnicity are you?
I am Japanese, Lebanese, and Armenian.
Wow, that's a cool mix.
Yeah, I think if I did my 23andMe, it would probably be a little bit more mixed than that, but that's what our cultures are.
I'm so upset that I still was never able to make it to one of your Christmas Eves with all that sushi. Oh my God.
I know.
I
Yeah,
know.
the only thing really pure for sure is my Japanese. That's like you can trace that back centuries.
Yeah.
It's very, very. But yeah, if you're in LA
know.
for a winter holiday, you should come by.
One day my family's going to be like, where's Dad? Where is he? It's like he's not here. And I'm like, oh yeah, I went to LA to get sushi.
Sorry guys,
That's it.
you're old. Once you're 18, you lose Santa.
Yeah, you're done. All right. So next question here, and Steph, you're now at 33, by the way. 33.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Scott Cross, do you think that there's any shows, movies that can't be remade? It struck gold the first time around and is so impossible to beat anything that's not worth trying. Rocky. You can't recreate Rocky.
Oh God, that would be so.
You can create Rocky stories. You can create things,
Yes.
like that. Oh, it's like a Rocky type story, but you can't recreate Rocky. You just can't. Stallone was the lightning in the bottle character. The fact he just fit perfectly to it. I mean, it wouldn't have worked if they would have put Robert Redford into it like they wanted to. It wouldn't have worked with this character. It was tailor made for him. You can't remake that movie.
Yeah, that's a really good call. I think the Lord of the Rings movies, I think they're so good.
Yeah.
If you rewatch them, I rewatch them once a year. They're better than most films that come out in a year.
Yeah. They're pretty.
It's 20 years later, and they still look better than most films.
They're pretty wonderful. They're pretty. I mean, they really are great. I love the Lord of the Rings movies. I like to watch every once in a while. The last time I watched the extended version, I don't watch them unless I watch the extended versions. I only watch them. And the last time I was during the pandemic, I watched them with my oldest and my wife. We watched all three of them, like, because we were so bored from doing nothing. We just watched all three movies, I think, over the course of however long it took us to watch all of them. But it was great.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, it was great.
I would have said Harry Potter too, low key,
but they're doing it now.
Even though I know they're doing it.
Yeah, they're doing it.
I think it's a little early
For a series, I don't know, man. If they were remaking,
series.
Yeah,
they're doing enough where I'm like, okay, I'm definitely gonna watch, and I do think it's different where it's gonna be a show, so it's gonna be a different sort of vibe.
Yep.
But I think that the movies and the actors are gonna be so hard to.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough. It's definitely gonna be a challenge. Back to our friend Ewok. What was the first movie you remember seeing at the cinema? Mine was a release of Bambi in 1988, which my mom took me to when I was 5, while my dad took my older brother to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Well, my dad tells the story of the first time I ever actually sat in. You'll probably be able to guess this stuff, but like, I used to run around in the theater. It's not the first movie I ever saw, because there were other movies. There were movies that I saw in the theater, and I used to run back and forth in the theater. I was one of those kids, like, they're just like, oh, sit that little asshole down. But my dad said he took me to a movie, and I sat down, and he was amazed because I just sat there like this, and I didn't move for the entire film. Can you guess the film?
No. Was it Star Wars?
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, okay.
He said I didn't move. He said I couldn't believe it. He's like you just were fixed. He's like, this kid's gonna be running around the thing. I'm gonna take him out of here. He's like, you didn't move. You just sat there.
That's great.
Yeah. And so, do you remember the first one that you went?
Yes, I do,
What
and
was
I
it?
can't believe I remember it. But it was my parents thought that the Sixth Sense was a kid movie
Oh my
because
God.
it was starring a
How
kid.
old were you?
Like 4.
You saw The
5.
Sixth Sense in the theater at 4 years old?
Yes. And we all 3 kids were like, what the hell were you thinking? And they just didn't, my parents are the most innocent, great parents ever. They just didn't know.
But why not get up and leave?
We're not quitters.
Fair enough. Fair
We
enough.
don't quit.
All right, that's fair. Exalted. I'm out on House of the Dragon. Head exec at HBO referred to George R. R. Martin as a disgruntled fan. Well, that's not smart. That's not smart to do. I mean, George R. R. Martin had posted that whole big thing, which I don't know was the best plan. I didn't read the whole thing. Did you read it?
No.
And he basically just said there's a lot going on that it was very different from it. But you can't insult George R. R. Martin and think the fans are gonna be like, that's all right. You can't do that. You got to fix that. You got to nip that in the bud quick. You got to. Speaking of wine, you got to take a picture of about 40 bottles of wine of you and George R. R. Martin shaking hands, going, everything's cool now. You got to fix that
quickly. Yeah, it's not a good look.
No. All right. This is one of many from the Lil Factor. Elite Factor. How many questions is Steph up to? Well, right now she's at 39. Okay.
Yeah.
Steph, what's your favorite color?
Green.
Steph, what's your favorite film?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Come on,
first one that comes to mind. Powers right now. The Spy Who Shagged Me.
The first one that comes to mind is usually one that hits up there. If you can't choose one movie, what's your favorite film genre? Science fiction, right?
Yeah, sci-fi and then fantasy.
Okay, and then Steph, what's your favorite music artist and or band?
My most listened to artist is Janae Aiko. I can just meditate or do yoga or anything to her music.
Okay.
My favorite band.
Yeah.
I have to give them credit for my childhood, Blink-182.
Okay. What's your favorite genre of music?
Oh, I like rap and R&B.
Okay. And if you don't mind, what breed is your pup?
Oh, she's a Labradoodle.
She's pretty adorable.
Yeah.
Steph, what type of film, TV role would you love to play if you had the power or influence to choose anything that you would want to do? Can I guess?
Yeah.
Comedy.
Yes. I just want to do comedy, and I never want to be a romantic lead.
Yeah, that's
if
fair.
I did it.
That's fair. I think you'd be great in and have you ever auditioned for Saturday Night Live?
No, my mom is on my a-hole about that.
Why wouldn't you do that?
I don't know. I might the next time UCB asked.
You absolutely should audition for Saturday.
UCB asked. They sometimes do a audition process through UCB. So if they do it again, then I probably will try to prepare stuff.
Please do, so I can get tickets to the show.
Yeah.
The Elite Factor. Steph, would that be a role in an established franchise or some source material? Wouldn't matter as long as it's good, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. Obviously, I want to write my own stuff, so it would be great to just put me in some things like the way Seth Rogen does. But anything that's good is a gift would be fun.
Well, I think that you answered this, but would you prefer a role be something completely original? And do you have an interest in acting? Well, clearly, she
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And she has an interest in acting, yes. Alex, I think the big tie into the MCU will be through Joe Locke's character. Many of us believe he is Billy Wiccan, who is Wanda's son and a young Avenger. I see. That's interesting.
Oh.
Okay, maybe so. We'll find out more. I guess that you know what? After seeing episode 1 and 2 and you saying that, okay. You saying that now, without spoiling anything, there's something that my wife and I were watching in episodes 1 and 2. My wife goes, well, that's interesting. I haven't seen them do that in a show before, and now I know why. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Pete Parker, talking about best dressed, Christian Harloff, look up Tate McRae at the VMAs. Whoa. Also, I'm really enjoying Outlaws as well. Playing on PS5 and the graphics are fire. Okay. Well, look, I'm glad that you're enjoying it also. It just seems like, you know, it didn't catch on to a lot of people. I can't say whether the game's good or bad. I haven't seen it. As far as best dress, I don't know. Do Tate McRae at the VMAs?
Oh, she wore a Britney dress. That's cool.
Oh, okay. Didn't say. We did that one already, and thank you again to Elite Factor. Mirror Domains. Are we getting a movie reaction to The Thing? Well, I've already seen it. I've already seen it now. So I did a review to it when it first came out, and when I first started this channel, I should say, and then I did a Patreon review of it with Dorina. So that was about 2 or 3 years ago. And oh man, can we get Dumbledore talking to Blackthorn? I don't know if I have the strength. If it was just like,
Excuse me, sir. Can you please tell me where my boat and my men are, and why is all those wizards running around the joint with wands and whatnot? And I was trying to get some meat and I couldn't get it. Sir, I would ask you to please stop shouting. There is more meat to go around. Harry, Hermione, escort this man to the back. I do not need to go to the back. Where is my men? Where is my boat?
There's more meat to go around.
That's it.
Don't worry.
That's it. Darth McBee. The Jedi games made by EA have been good. Looking forward to the third. However, Star Wars Outlaws by Ubisoft was so bad that I quit playing after 10 hours. The usual Ubisoft would open world slop. Yeah, that's a bummer. It's a bummer.
Like 10 hours is, I mean, I don't know what you're normally clocking, but that's a lot.
It's a lot. The elite factor. Or your interest in producing, directing, and hosting. I think all the above, right?
Yeah, I think like all of us are interested in whatever comes. That would be fun.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I'm like, no.
Right.
But I would, yeah.
Well, it depends on, you always have to see it. Zeus Fleming. Are we becoming too jaded or asking too much of superhero movies and TV? I feel like these were made for us as kids, and they are still for kids. See, but I think that's the easy way out. I think that's the easy way out for people to go, oh, like there's some dopey idiot yesterday. When we started up the show yesterday, Tom Chattelbash and I, we were talking about Transformers 1, and some moron was in going, two grown men talking about animated films, I'm out of here. And I was like, you're an idiot. It's like, this is good stories are good stories, and things are, and the same way that when you're watching comic book movies, right, and you're watching these things, the way that this has been built now, the industry, it's not just aimed towards kids. Are kids absolutely a target audience for these things? Of course they are. But they're also geared towards people. Like, you think Logan is made for kids? Of course it isn't. You think Deadpool is made for kids? Of course not. It's all over the place. So you have a right as the part of the audience to say, I don't know, this one's not for me. And I'm basing it on other stuff that they've done that I thought was for me. So it's not. I think it's an easy way out because it was a comic book movie. People go, oh, it's for kids. Maybe 30, 40 years ago you could say that. You can't say that now.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's so funny. Someone came in the comments like that. I think that every project is different. So I think that I completely understand Disney Plus making certain shows going to, or movies to Disney Plus, and that might be more geared towards kids. But then the movies that they produce and want to put out in theaters, including the Marvel movies, I would think that it would be for mostly as a wide array of people, including adults, as they can.
Yeah. Okay, this is from the Dart 005. Steph, how do you keep in shape? You work out, diet? What's your secret?
Yes, I try to be pretty active. I do hot yoga and I try to lift more as I'm getting older. Lifting is very important. So I just have like 20-pound dumbbells at home and I do some sets at home. And I have an app program that helps me so I don't have to go to the gym, which takes a lot of time, and even just getting there, I think, negates a lot of people's workouts. And then I don't eat processed or refined sugars.
Smart.
Really. I'm not saying never. Like if there's a birthday cake and my mom is super superstitious, I'll have a piece of the cake.
Yeah.
But I don't buy anything with processed sugar, and I don't have dairy anymore.
Interesting. There you go. The elite factor. I believe Roxy said that Steph is a D1 athlete. True? And if true, what sports?
Yes, I played field hockey. A double D1 athlete, which there are some, they're nuts. I don't know how anyone does that.
To which he follows up, what's your favorite food or dish? Is it sushi?
Sushi, probably, yes.
That's the one thing. I do miss sushi in LA sushi. I miss it.
Yes, I can't imagine what you're going through. But if I just had to pick like one item to go with me for the rest of my life, it'd be a croissant.
That's pretty good too. And then he follows this up with, which Star Wars character do you vibe with the most?
Yoda.
Yoda? I thought you were gonna say Ahsoka.
Ahsoka, yeah, but vibe with like
Yoda?
who
Yeah, chill. Yeah.
I'm not like passing a joint to Ahsoka. I feel
That's
like
true. Yeah, she would
she's
judge you for
too
it.
by the yeah.
Yeah,
She'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
like, really, Steph?
Right.
But Yoda would be like, I'm retired.
Yeah.
Stoned, I will get.
Yeah, I'm a Force ghost, baby.
100%. Let's do it. JMB. Roxy's all about being an actress. Dorina has her music. But Steph, I've always been curious about your plans. Please share if you feel like it. Thank you, KNS.
No, thank you. Yeah, it's like funny. I wanted to be a TV host most of my life, and then the pandemic happened, and the face of hosting is completely changed in a direction that I don't want to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
I like talking about movies and TV, but movies and TV are my real passion. So I've been really working in the past few years of honing my craft in writing and then improv. So pairing comedy with writing is the goal.
Well, there you go. All right. Next question here, and that is from Julius White. He said, I didn't know that you were part Japanese. I was born there.
What?
Yeah.
I'm always so jealous of people who got to live there.
When was the last time you went?
I haven't gone.
Oh, you've never been to Japan?
No,
oh, wow.
We were supposed to go with my grandma Seiko, and then she suddenly had a heart attack.
Oh, right.
And not so I still have family there, and I'm gonna go visit. We're probably gonna go this year, actually, or not this.
Isn't Star Wars Celebration in Japan?
Yeah. So maybe, but we're thinking next fall is the golden time with because we want to do the whole family. So with my parents' work schedule, we're hoping next fall is the actual time we get it done.
Mm-hmm.
But and we were gonna do the Olympics, but then the pandemic happened, and so we just keep pushing it back, and we just need to actually go there. But I've always had this little fear that I'm going to go there and not want to leave.
Yeah,
and then I need to figure it out.
For real. Deadly Once Awoken. Should Lucas hire some of the video game game writers / creators to make the new shows? They seem to feel more like Star Wars in more cases. And when does Kathleen Kennedy get canned? Triceratops Tops for the win. So Triceratops Tops is a classic schmoes moment where we were doing. It was during the first ever Schmodown, by the way, ever, like before the trivia game that turned into the Schmodown, where Cobster and or Christian Rubalcaba rather and JTE were playing in a battle. And it was JT was favored heavily, and Christian started making a really good pull and started to get, look like he was going to beat him. And the final question, or something along the lines, one of the final questions was about Jurassic World, and we asked him one of the dinosaurs that was sick, and he said Triceratops Tops, and it was one of the biggest moments that we made T-shirts out of it. It was huge, but it was a long time. That was 10 years ago. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
10 years ago. So as far as the Lucasfilm thing goes, I do think that, and one of the things that eventually I'm going to get to this video of the things that I think that needs to happen inside of the the 6 things that need to happen to kind of fix Star Wars, and one of those things is to regut the whole thing. But another thing is a writer's room, right? A full writer's room that is always working on these stories and working with the filmmakers and everything, like an actual outline storyline. And I think that Claudia Gray should be in there. I think that Alexander Freed should be in there. I think that Christy Golden should be in there. I think that there's these writers, and then the writers of the books and the games and the executives on those things. Yes, so the answer is 100% yes. The people that are working on those things should be involved, but they're not. They're in the creative on something else entirely, and it's a mistake. And as far as Kathleen Kennedy, Steph and I have had that conversation an exhausting amount of times.
Right.
So who knows? I think that what we talked about last time is that this could change, and the answers were probably both wrong. But I think we both think that she potentially will walk off after Mandalorian and Grogu, right?
I think so.
You think, but we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah. And then there is a few more here from the Elite Factors. Steph, if you have one, who's your favorite X-Men character?
Magneto.
Oh, it's a good one.
I just think he's the most interesting.
Okay. And then the other question is, are you more of a series question or more of a is it movie, or more of a series person, or more of a Movie person, series or movies?
I don't know. Everyone feels like they have what they are. I suppose movies, but it's changing constantly.
I'm
I
with
feel
you.
like in 3 years I might be series.
To me, I don't think you can really answer it. It's like
Yeah.
because like if I say because you could be waiting, you're like, oh wait, there's Dune 2. It's movies, and then 5 seconds later, it's Shogun. I want to watch Shogun. I'd say you can't because the quality of TV has changed so dramatically because of the kind of effort and quality that you can put into them. So
That they are movies at
they're
this
movies.
point.
They're essentially movies. That's exactly right. Okay, JMB. My mom is from the same prefecture as Steph's grandma.
Oh, really?
That's what he says.
That's crazy.
He says.
They probably know each other. I mean, we probably have families who know each other.
Yeah. And then Patty Boy, have you seen Strange Darling? It's great. Which one's that? Do you know what Strange?
Yeah. No.
I don't know what Strange Darling is. I'm not sure, but that'd be interesting to check out. I don't know what it is. So the answer is no. We haven't seen it because we don't know what the hell it is. I think that might be it, Steph. I think so.
Okay.
Let me double check. Let me see. That's it. And you finished the day today, Steph, with you smashed your previous record and you hit 52 today.
Woo!
It's big. That's big on the board for Steph. Steph at
Thanks,
52.
guys.
Yeah, it's coming in yesterday, poor Tom Shadowbash, 4.
Oh.
Poor Tom. But
Yeah.
but then
Tom.
or 3. I can't
It
remember.
happens.
It happens.
We have bad days and we have good days.
That's right. That's coming from a D1 athlete. So then Roca this week 73 has got it again. Can Winston beat him again this week? We'll find out on Friday for sure. But Steph, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. What are you doing? Where can they find you? Tell me all that stuff.
The World Girls tonight, 6 p.m. and at Steph Sabra.
Easy enough. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. I have my immediate reaction for episodes 1 and 2 of Agatha on the channel right now. I hope you check that out. My full reactions of both episode 1 and 2 with my lovely wife will be on the channel tomorrow. My reaction of Long Legs with my friend Tina will be up on Friday. Capes and Cows is coming on Friday. And so much more. If you are into the UAP phenomenon, make sure you check out my channel, Down to Earth with Christian Harloff. That's a show every single day that I do, that you can check that out. I have my interviews, my clips channel that I put out my interviews from certain guests. I just had Jennifer Esposito on the show. I'm working on some really fun guests, so I hope you check that out also. Thank you to everybody here who was contributing in the live chat, people who put in their super chat questions, and people who helped Steph get to over 52 questions today. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.